Welcome to the Crimson Engine. My name is 𝙍𝙐𝙬𝙄𝙖. Today we are looking at the 5 things you need to know to get started with the Canon C500 Mark II. Now this camera is awesome. You can see it here in its shape cage with the optional shape push button adjustable viewfinder holder. I've had a lot of fun shooting with this camera. I've actually made a course about this camera. So I thought what we'd do is dive in and kind of discover the things that you probably don't know about this and how to get around them. The C500 Mark II has false color. It is the first Canon cinema camera to have it built in rather than having to use an external monitor. But it doesn't work in combination with the lookup tables. If you put a lookup table on the same monitor that's displaying false color, it will actually throw off your false colors. This was kind of a surprise for me because normally you need to send out a Rec. 709 signal for false color to take effect. But in Canon's case, you need to turn off LUTs or else the false color displayed on the monitor or the SDI or the HDMI won't correspond to the false color bar chart that's built into the camera, and so you won't know what you're looking at. So it's false color or LUTs, not one or the other. If you want to switch between these two, you should probably assign them to buttons so that you don't have to go into the menu each time. Number 2 is LUTs and proxies. Now this camera shoots 5.9K RAW. If you're shooting the RAW, you're also able to record a second version of your footage as a proxy, as a 1080 proxy onto the SD card holder. Right there. However, whatever LUT you're showing on the different monitors, either the video, the SDI, or the HDMI, won't be burnt onto the proxy. It will come out at the same latitude as your 5.9K RAW. If you want a LUT or you want a look burnt into the proxy, you'll need to do it by activating a different camera profile. For instance, the BT709 in the camera. Difficulty with this is that you will no longer get C-Log2 scopes, waveforms, or anything else. You'll have to only get the information based on the BT709. So if your main exposure tool is a light meter, then you should be fine. But if you want to use all the great exposure tools that this camera has, you won't be able to do it at the same time as burning a look onto your proxy. Number 3, zooming in on waveforms. So this camera has a pretty cool waveform and even a vector scope, and you're able to zoom in on those different things. I use the spot a lot, but the line is also great. And with a second menu, you can choose where that line starts. So you don't have to go by that tiny little waveform monitor. You can start it at 40. So if you're trying to get your skin tones at 60, say, or you're trying to get your skin tones at 50, depending on what you're doing, you can start your line or your spot line at 40 and have the 40 to 70 or 40 to 100 take up the entire waveform monitor, so it's a lot easier to see what it is that you're looking at. Unlike the C200, the C500 Mark II does have a timecode import. It's right there. So you're able to jam timecode into this camera from a timecode box or from a timecode sync like the Tentacle sync boxes. We tried this on the feature film. It didn't work great. The camera tended to lose about a second of timecode every day, which isn't that much over 12 hours, but it means that the timecode at the end of the day is going to have drifted from your original timecode. If you want rock solid timecode, you'll need to leave your timecode box connected to the camera so it can constantly just be feeding timecode into the camera and your timecode will be rock solid. Number 5, playback without going into the playback menu. More often than not, you want to playback the shot you just shot so that you can see if it's what you wanted, rather than pushing the media menu and navigating through and hitting the buttons and watching it back. You're able to set one of maybe these buttons here that you don't use that often. What's 15? One-shot autofocus. I've never used that in my whole life. You're able to change it to something like play last clip. This will play the last clip that you shot all the way through, and then without you having to even do anything, we'll go back to the record menu. So you're able to see what you got, listen to it, see the levels, see the light, see how it was, and then go straight back to either getting another take or getting your next shot. Those are my top 5 things to know about the C500 Mark II. If you're interested in knowing more about how this camera works and an in-depth dive into the C500, its focus, its exposure, click the link below and check out my C500 Mark II Masterclass. Thank you very much for watching. I will see you next time.